Okay, here's another DOS demo. This time we're going to talk about Flight Simulator 5.1. Now I'm in the games directory in the DOS directory where I've already downloaded and installed DOSBox, now which we've talked about in from some of our previous videos. You can go take a look at how to do that. But I've also got all these different DOS games here, and one of them is Flight Simulator 5.1. So I've owned this for years on a floppy disk and everything. I think I showed it in earlier videos, as a matter of fact. But here's Flight Simulator, all the files necessary for it. Here's everything you need to run Flight Simulator for DOS. So, and you might be able to find it. I think it's public domain, but I'm not 100% sure. But all the files are there and everything, so we can go ahead and play around with it. So how do you want to run that? Well, we can do a couple of things. We can go ahead and open up another window. Oops. If we go back and let's say open new window, and we'll go back up here. So now we have two directories. We have one here with the Flight Simulator directory and one with DOS open, which is a subdirectory of the Flight Simulator is a subdirectory of that. But let's go to DOSBox again, and we'll go through it one more time. Is that we can create a shortcut by going up to the DOSBox.exe and do that. But we can if we go here and we say DOSBox, right click and say create shortcut. Oops, I lost it for a second. Oh, I know where it's at. Go down here to create shortcut, and it creates a shortcut. Automatically names it as a shortcut, right? And then you go in there and edit all that. So we're going to go ahead and just delete that for a second because we're going to show you what I did. And there's the shortcut I created. I'm going to properties. And in here it tells you exactly what it's going to be. So I'm sitting here showing that it's going to go and run the DOSBox.exe program, but it's going to access a configuration file which configures DOSBox to run. So it's going to be located in, there's the config. It's going to be located in the Flight Simulator directory. Okay, and it's going to write in the DOSBox config called DOSconfig51. Right, so that's one I've created, and we're going to cover that also in a second here. And it's going to run it from the DOSBox directory. So all that being said, that's how you create your shortcut to get to your game and to get to the configuration file that you want. So I'm going to say cancel here, and we're going to go over here to this DOSBox config. Now the standard DOSBox config is in the DOSBox directory, and here's all the settings for it. It tells you how to do it and all that stuff. And some of the settings you're going to be interested in are where your games are at. There's a mount command down here, and what that means is your hard drive. There's your memory settings, but there's your mount, and it says, okay, make the D games DOS directory your C drive while you're in DOSBox. And so the other thing it's going to do is you're going to need to have is this configuration file. If you notice here that we've changed a couple of things. There's these resolutions and everything that we're talking about. This is different than what it was in the original DOSBox and everything. And to show you that, let's go over to the DOSBox standard configuration file. So here we are here looking at both of these files next to each other, and you'll see that I've put the Windows resolution, the Windows resolution as from original, I've changed it to 1020 by 768. Otherwise, it's a 640 by 480 screen. Also, Surface doesn't allow it to scale, so you have to change that to overlay, and some video cards support that, but for the most part, you should be okay. If you change those two settings, you can be able to run bigger windows instead of a really small 640 by 480. The other thing you need to do is different things for different programs. In this case, there's EMS, which are XMS, EMS. These are old types of memory, extended memory, and the like, in order to do that. Using the standard Flight Simulator won't run. So what I had to do is I had to disable EMS. Okay, that way Flight Simulator is allowed to run and everything because of the way it handles memory. There's probably some even better configurations, but the last thing is how to mount and what commands. So after I tell it to use the D games directory as my C drive, then I have it change directly to Flight Simulator 5.1 and then run the command FS. And if we look over here at the directory, what it's doing is coming over here. Oops, and it's going over here to run that. Again, Flight Simulator. Comes over here, goes to this directory. It finds the Flight Simulator, that config file that we're looking at. It's right here. It says, oh, I'm going to run Flight Simulator, and that runs that BAT file. That's a command file for the old DOS and everything. We can actually go look at it and everything, but all this is a command file that you can set up in DOS that tells you certain things. But there it is, Flight Simulator X. So we're going to go ahead and run that. So that's what it does. It automates all that into one easy click. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and say, okay, we're done with all the configurations. Oh, by the way, this is the initialization file for that. There's your type of video card that Flight Simulator is going to use. That's what it starts off with. That's the initial settings and all this. Some of these are configurable through the interface and everything, like, you know, but there's other things here that you need to learn about for the old Flight Simulator if you're really into it that much and everything. I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there how to configure Flight Simulator, but we're not going to go in there. We're just trying to get you to run it first. So we'll go here. We've done all of our configuration and everything. We know what we're going to do as far as the size of the screen, like I talked about, and everything like that. Don't forget to make all those changes. So now that we have all that done and we've made those changes here, okay, we can go ahead and run the game from the command line and everything. So let's go back out of this and come back over here to the DOSBox and simply click on the Flight Simulator 5.1. Now the first thing you're going to see is the DOSBox, but it expands immediately to a larger screen than the 640. And sure enough, here we are. We're in our standard airplane, and we're going to take off. A little bit of a sound glitch to it, which I'll work on a little bit later, but there you are, Flight Simulator. I think this is 1995 or even earlier than that. Running perfectly fine on the Windows 8 machine through a DOS box which emulates a DOS machine. And you can have use of these. Now the resolution of these particular little text is pretty bad because we've expanded twice its size. I just changed to a Learjet, but I didn't have no speed because I was at a speed for a standard aircraft. So it crashed because it didn't have enough airspeed. So I reset it to go back. So while we're on the ground, we're going to go ahead and change to Learjet here for a second just to show you. And we're going to go ahead and take off here with this and get it off the ground. And by the way, this is fully functional. Fully functional, except for the pilot. Fully functional, and that allows you to fold up the landing gear and all that. Even back then, I was able to do all this stuff. And I remember doing this via modem, where I could see other people's aircraft across the screen, and I could fly with other people. It was just cool that he was on a modem, I was on a modem, my friends and everything, and we could actually fly together. It wasn't exciting necessarily compared to today's world, but it definitely was something that was amazing back then. Again, that's why I'm old guy geek. So if I roll a little bit to the right, hit the G, you'll see, I think if I get it to do this right, I'm going to bring up the, let me turn on my side a little bit. You see the landing gear fold up. Yep, and then I'll also lose control of the aircraft and crash. But that's Flight Simulator on 1995, I believe, for DOS, running on a Windows 8 machine. Full compatibility. Just got to use the DOSBox application. By the way, there's scenery and settings you can change and a whole bunch of other things. But it works great. So have fun with legacy games on Windows 8.